All right, we're live. I'm Joe Orsack, and this is the Whine No Whine Show. Welcome to our hour where you can be friended and offended all at the same time. That's right. We are here today to talk about everything you're never supposed to talk about, and we're going to have a great time doing it, all over a glass of great wine. Today we're drinking a Chenin Blanc made by a winery right here in the United States, supporting local jobs in America. That's right. That's why we're drinking this, because we care about American jobs.
That's why. Yeah.
I Have the Needle is the winery in Washington State. It's a great Chenin Blanc, a very nice light wine, good with chicken, that sort of thing. If y'all want to know about it, I hashtagged it, I think in the title. If not, just ask a question. We're going to have a good time, so I'm going to start pouring glasses as we speak here. Be sure to like and comment during the show, because this show is interactive. The whole idea is that we can talk about things that we're not supposed to, religion, politics, everything else, with alcohol involved. What could possibly go wrong? And have a great time doing it. You know what, guys? It's okay to disagree. There's nothing wrong with it. We don't need to call each other idiots. We don't need to call each other brain dead or brainless, as I was called today. We don't need to call each other libtards and all that sort of thing.
Oh my gosh.
We can just disagree. Nothing happens when you get offended, I promise, right? You can be offended. You won't grow an offended tumor and die. It's all right. So we're going to discuss stuff that we know can be contentious, and we're going to have a great time doing it. Everybody, cheers to a great show. Salute. Salute. All right. Without further ado, I want to let everybody introduce themselves to the show today. We're going to go start on that side of the room. Bill, tell everybody who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Tran. I work for Johnson Development, and I've been in Houston since 1980, so I wasn't born here, but I got here as soon as I could.
Right on.
And I've watched the city grow, for the last 37 years. And one of the things that I'm very interested in is to see how, residents of Houston, Houstonians, native and not, approach our future. Obviously, lots of pro-development people versus non-development people, or anti-development, and we need to know where we're going to be in the next 15, 20, 25 years. And just so glad that Joe found that topic interesting, and so here we are talking about it, and we're lucky enough to have a couple of young folks join us, millennials. So
Thank you, Bill.
We need that future and hope there.
Oh, yeah.
He was always talking about us.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I co-opted. I co-opted that young phrase.
Exactly.
David, what goes around is coming to me.
Exactly why I wasn't very specific.
Stand by.
All right. Next up.
David Pipkin here, very glad to be here with you today. First of all, I got to do a couple of shout outs. Houston Rockets, way to go, right?
Woo!
Houston Rockets,
Hey!
good showing in the playoffs. The Astros taking 3 out of 4 against the Texas Rangers.
Fantastic.
Awesome
I
job
like
there.
your shout outs.
And then my biggest one is my lifelong favorite all-time band, Journey, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh,
finally!
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Along with Yes.
Oh.
Right?
Finally!
And I just blanked on his
Yes!
name. Niall, I can't remember his name. I just blanked on his name.
Who?
Someone will comment on it anyway. He's a composer and producer. Niall's I can't
Wow.
remember his name now.
A music question
he
I
was
can't
just inducted in the Hall of Fame along with
This
those
moment is
two.
even
Yeah,
down.
Joan
No doubt.
Baez and
Wow.
Pearl Jam was in there as well. So yeah, pretty cool Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I didn't know that they got those particular bands got inducted. That's
Yeah.
that's a finally, because like Journey and Yes. Yes has been around since the early '70s. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Before that,
'60s.
in the
was it?
60s,
Yes,
it's been
it was.
a
Their
long
first
time.
band was in '71. First album was in '71. Anyway, big fan of Rick Wakeman. He was a huge influence on my life as a keyboardist.
See, I didn't know you played keyboard.
That's another topic.
I
We
play
didn't
drums.
talk about music.
We got a band happening here. You got a drummer right here.
Journey. Literally, the first song I ever learned on piano was "Don't Stop Believing."
There you
So,
go.
Hey,
there we go.
I've got some pretty mad jazz hands. I can join the band.
That's a talent.
Yes. All right. So Peyton, next up, introduce yourself.
Hey there, how
Who
you
the heck are
doing? I am the heck Peyton Messer, and I work here at Spoken About. I'm a digital marketing agent, so
She works
Joe
here.
just
It's
loves
spoken about.
me
Here.
I'm
Here.
here.
Here also happens to be the Wine No Wine Studios.
Nice job. Yeah, good job.
We also have spoken about in the building.
In the building.
Yes.
Just in case you were wondering, yeah. So Joe just found me as an incredible human being. To
Really,
add
I
to
just
this
thought she was
incredible
just
show.
really pretty today.
That's what it was.
That's
You know,
exactly what it was.
That's what got me on the show.
They had
Dressing nice
matching
does
wine
do
colors.
you good. So that's who I am.
Kate.
Oh, I thought you were going to introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm the host.
Everybody knows Joe.
Everybody knows Joe. I'm Kate Davis. Hi, y'all. I walked into the room to say hi to people who were here, and Joe said, "Hey,
Wanna be on the
Kate,
show?"
want to be on my show?" And I said yes. So that's how I ended up here.
See, this is a funny story.
Funny story. See what happened was.
What happened was, when you have two people who can't make it to the show for various reasons, you panic as a host, and you start inviting everybody you know.
You started inviting the young, pretty folks, and
Right.
here we are.
And that covered me, and then I.
Young pretty
So,
follow.
yes,
They're
that
over there in that
explains,
chair.
that
They're over
explains
there.
why Bill's on the show. He's the eye candy.
That's right.
Wait, that was my job.
we,
Oh, this one too. This guy right here.
we went from having
You can introduce
not
yourself.
enough people to having more than enough people. It's awesome. So,
If Steve's eye candy, we have our first topic of disagreement.
security!
Love you, Steve.
I will cut. My wife would disagree with you, David.
All right, Steve. Steve is the only three-time guest so far.
Woo! 3
Right,
Have there
so
only been 3 shows?
yeah.
Yeah, right. My name is Steve Williams, and I have been on the show. This is my 3rd iteration, and
Holy cow!
I don't.
There it
I can
goes.
say I don't work. I don't work.
Nothing.
I don't do
happens.
anything
Nothing,
except this.
Yes,
In all,
I pay him
I've
thousands of dollars to be on the show.
I know.
Big ballin'. Where's
Somebody's
that
not
at?
supposed to hear about that.
Where's
I
my
You get paid for this?
Where's my
Well, I don't. No, I don't. I really don't.
Somebody's got to be the eye candy.
Anyway, it's been a wonderful experience. I've enjoyed all of these shows and contributing, and I feel like if anybody needs some last century historical recollection, I could probably bring that to the table. But in all intents and purposes, I've forgotten. So I will do my best. So there it is. I'm going to roll it back
Wow.
to Joe and let him kick off.
I don't know what I'm
things,
talking
and
about.
We're
I
gonna just,
forgot.
we're going to do
I
it.
forgot.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll sit here.
And that uncomfortable silence is brought to you by Needle in the Eye
Yes.
Wine.
No,
I
have the needle. I have the
Needle in the
needle.
eye.
That's right.
The needle in the eye. That
This
could be-
uncomfortable,
that
I'm
could be
going to use that from now on. This uncomfortable moment of silence. It's brought to you by I Have the
Label out.
Needle. Yes.
Label out.
Needle in
Yes.
your eye.
Please send us free wine.
What a name.
Legit, that's why I hashtag the name of the company in the show. I'm like,
So if
maybe,
you want
maybe
it-
thell see it and send us more. So,
If you do, you'll get
all right,
more business.
Or money.
right, exactly. Shameless plugs. Hey, throw money.
Speaking
We're
of
open.
those.
Right. So, okay, so look, dial it into discussions today. It's all the fun, introductions get out here. Bill, so you came today. You had the thing you wanted to talk about. You're in development here in Houston with Johnson Company. I'm probably butchered that name.
No,
It's like a third glass of wine.
it's
Give me a
just
break.
Johnson Development.
Johnson Development. There we go. I said Johnson Company. Oh my God.
We pregame here.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
if
we pre-game we pre-show drink. I'm just saying.
Like the grill.
So if you're
Let's be
familiar,
honest.
if you're familiar with Sienna Plantation,
Yes.
Riverstone, Cross
Yes.
Creek,
Mhm.
that's our community.
And
So,
he works with a builder, so we have common ties here. So
yeah. So
it's almost like there's a plan.
well,
There's not really. But I'm
Like I
just
said,
saying.
in the 80s, obviously, the master plan community concept was starting to come around, and since then, we talk about urban sprawl, either as a good thing or a bad thing.
I watched that band.
But like I said, I can't afford to live inside the loop, and so I'm sure there's a lot of people like me where we're going, well, we would love the commute, we would love the 15-minute commute, but at what cost, right? Because you can't, there's so many, and so one of the prohibitive things is obviously taxes, and the other thing is probably HOA and all the other things that come along with
Oh,
these
HOA.
things. So, in Houston, in Texas, we have some of the highest property taxes in the country.
Yep.
But our home prices are very affordable. So if
Crazy,
you're
though.
if you're in the market for a home and you're trying to settle your family and whatnot, these things take years to figure out. Or either that, or you're just so tired and worn out, you just jump into something because it's the easy thing to do, and you'll make it work once you get there. But how many times have you heard of people buying homes and then they hate the house that they bought, because they didn't, they don't like their neighbors, or their neighbors don't like them, and it's a huge part of your life, and
Well, from the, I love my house, but I live here in Humboldt, and I live behind the mall, and 2 weeks of the year it's a living hell,
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
right? Christmas is it's just a freaking nightmare, right? I go from like a minute drive to work, literally. I mean, I can get to work in a minute, which is pretty awesome. To like, it can take me 30 minutes, which, considering how close I am, that's insane. I mean, it's just
During
it's just
Christmas time,
insane.
you probably ride your bike to work.
Right, exactly. I could literally walk faster. I mean,
I know
so
what that's
if I didn't have to leave and go elsewhere at different times, I would just do that, right?
I would do that anyway.
I'm gonna ride a bike and then just ride home and get my car and try to leave.
That's how I used to get around.
So, I totally get that from the standpoint of you can move somewhere where you like the house, and then because of the settings, you don't like the setting, right? Here in the Humboldt Kingwood Atascocita area, I don't think many people anticipated the explosive growth of the Atascocita area.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they got Atascocita High School built, it was already over capacity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Try to go up and down 1960 at rush hour.
Yes.
There's no way in hell I would live anywhere out near Lake Houston just because of that.
Try living past Lake Houston.
Yeah. And if I was there, I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't go anywhere else, right? And then just in passing, we had an appointment, a business appointment across town, way out off Mason and I-10,
Mm-hmm.
and it took us an hour 15, hour 30 to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we drove another 10 minutes, we literally would have drove across the state of Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
In that time. People outside of Texas just have no concept of that.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
traffic alone is a nightmare. I wouldn't want that job.
That's the joke. I mean, you could be driving an hour and a half and still be in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah, and like on the freeway, not
Yeah.
not side streets, right? So the thing is, I mean, at what point does it become?
Don's talking smack about you. There. He said not just last century, but last millennium.
Very true. Very true. All right, I have to make a point.
Way
on
to go,
this.
Don.
This discussion about master plan building and community building, we have an issue coming up tomorrow where a lot of the communities in our area are going to be voting on school bonds, school boards, things of that nature. I'm going to be officiating one of the polling locations. So one of the things that we became aware of is the Clear Creek ISD is going to be asking the community to vote on, the taxpayers to vote on a 400 and, I think it was 87, correct me if I'm wrong, $487 million bond. This has been sold to that community. I'm not a taxpayer or a voter in that, but I know several people in my circle that are. And that is a tremendous amount of debt to be putting on a community, whereas a few years ago they asked for about $350-some-odd million that was supposed to do the same thing. Okay, well, where did that money go? Well, I think from what I'd heard, that it went to a football stadium for high school. Okay, you can debate the value of that if you want to. I think it's just tremendous to me that if you look at the total serviceable debt that you've just put on the CCISD of voters and taxpayers, it's over $2 billion. And the people proposing this have gone through and talked down to those of us who question that. They say we overinflated it because, we want it not to happen. We don't want, for some reason the argument is that we don't care about the community. We don't care about these kids. Well, I tell you what, here's my argument against that. You prove to me that the CCISD is putting out kids coming out of high school ready for college, ready for life, ready to hit it down hard and just heavy. And then maybe people like myself might consider allowing you to put that kind of a debt on us for those property owners because their property taxes are going through the roof. And so there's some people that think conservatively on this, and you haven't given us a reason to approve this. So, you know, a well-funded yes program, vote for the CCISD bond because we want to do all these improvements because the schools are falling apart. They're 100 years old and kids are having to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow. I mean, to me, it's an over-dramatic argument on their side. And when we come up and question that, then we're portrayed as the bad guys on this because we don't care. Well, you know what? Nowadays, considering the economic situation from the family on up to how our government is operating, you know, everybody knows the number that our debt keeps talking about $20 trillion. Well, look at the serviceable debt. You want to see a number that's going to scare you even more than $20 trillion?
I was just going to say, 20 trillion kind of scares me already.
Well, yeah, that's what we can actually address politically from our federal government. But just the other day, they put a $1.1 trillion continuing resolution on us. And every cotton-picking thing that the Republicans, the conservatives were fighting against was funded. Everything, Planned Parenthood, all of this other stuff that we've been trying to get them to take care of to reduce that kind of spending, they didn't do it. So,
want to say hello to
Bree.
Bree Tobias.
Yeah, what's up, Bree?
Hey,
Hi,
Bree.
Bree.
Hi.
I'd like
Thanks
to,
for tuning in.
Love you.
like to chime in on that.
Interactive show, by the way, guys. If you have something to say, go ahead and comment. We'll address it during the show. If it's a wine-worthy comment, it'll make the show. So
There's a
Go.
whole intermingling of issues when you come into that.
yeah, there was
And
multiple
Steve-
points.
Well, but that's how it is because
Yeah.
the whole thing is the home ownership is one of the central.
You
strands
work
of
for a
fabric.
builder.
I work for a custom builder,
Mhm.
There's
Scott
that
Thomas
plug.
Homes.
Scott
Yeah,
Thomas
there's that
Homes,
plug.
shameless plug.
Yeah,
I'll
we
send you
are.
a check.
We are. And
I mean,
we
a
are,
bill.
We're not a small. I mean, we're small compared to like your production builders that close thousands of homes in a region in a year or whatever. We'd like to get to where we're closing 100 a year. But it's a different approach too. We don't really want to grow much bigger than that. But in that time, I'm in my 4th year, and I'm actually kicking myself that I didn't find this industry sooner because I'm absolutely loving it. But
That's cool.
But that said, it has given me a perspective on this issue because and I want to couch all this under the umbrella that the market in Texas, especially in the greater Houston area. I mean, we still have. As much as bad can be going on in the nation, Houston is still really good. People are coming here because of the free market ideas that we've kept in place. Now there are infringements by both Democrats and Republicans, and that's what Steve's speaking to there. But there's a basic system there that it's broken from the outset. It's an idea. There's so many insidious taxes, and it starts, that whole system starts with home ownership. With real estate, and I have a background in investments as well. Real estate is supposed to be your safest investment. If you had, take a figure, say $100,000, your safest investment in an investment theory is to go invest in a plot of land and hold on to that because it's guaranteed to grow. Now, risk and reward, right? It's not going to grow as fast as if you put it in a risky stock or a small cap stock or something like that. But it's still supposed to be very safe. Yet what do? We have a system of taxation where you have the fox guarding the chicken coop, right? The people levying the taxes get to tell you what that home value and property value is worth, and then they can also determine at what rate they tax you. So you remember back in the 90s, our good friends, Republicans in the Texas Senate, talked about how they had lowered taxes, and yeah, they had lowered the rate. Of course, appraisal values went up so much that the net effect was not a single person in Texas paid a lower property tax from the year before. And what we've seen is on average, it doubles. Whatever you're paying in taxes today doubles every 7 to 8 years. So now you have people that can't stay in there. This whole system, to your point, you can't stay in your home that long. It used to be our parents. You're taxed out of your home. That's
your
right.
investment.
Well, on top of that, it's also what you're paying for what you're living in.
Right.
People look
Not
up,
much left.
they get halfway through a 30-year mortgage. They look at what they're paying for what they're living in that home, And now standards have changed in what's going into the homes that are being built. You know, nowadays granite countertops, you know, no builder that's trying to represent a $250,000 home or more is going to try to sell you a home that doesn't have granite countertops, or if they do, you might have to go to a design center, and then I get to my sales pitch. But
Right.
Yeah.
but the point is that yeah, the standards change. So now you look at what you can afford. You look at the equity that you built in your home, which equity is building very quickly these days. There's people who live in Cypress and Katy that have only been there, you know, maybe 2.5, 3 years, and they're already looking at $50,000, $60,000 in equity that they can now take advantage of in buying a new home.
Right, that is why it is so critical from my side of the aisle when I see people who are vying for or being a candidate for the local tax collector assessor's position.
Mm-hmm. And we're in the same direction.
That is the NASCAR equivalent of a restrictor plate. That's their job. Their job is to balance the needs and the wants of the government that wants to spend your tax dollars, and the taxpayers. They need to be there to restrict that kind of flow so that it generates cost savings. It creates a very frugal economic environment. And we had that for such a long time with several great tax collector assessors in Harris County alone.
Mm-hmm. Paul Bettencourt.
Right, Paul Bettencourt and Mike Sullivan. Those guys are very good friends of mine. And, you know, listening to them explain things to me practically helped create this persona that I like to give off is extremely conservative. I want to try to duplicate that with most people. It doesn't matter what you feel about other hot topic social issues, air quotes. That's my drive. Is I want everybody that brings up these subjects with me. I want to show you what it is that we've had, and in this case, in Harris County, in the last November elections, we lost a ton of good people because the voter didn't or wasn't able to see what the impact would be if they just went in there and did one thing and then they left, which was Trump.
Let me wrap this up.
That's what I
Let me
said.
wrap this up.
I want to acknowledge
Yeah.
a great
Yeah, go
remark. No, well, go ahead. I want to acknowledge Don's remark after this.
Shoot, I'll do it.
But,
I'll wait.
Don was watching and he chimed in and he talked about bonds. He said that bonds shouldn't be allowed, period.
For
And he-
schools and
Period.
something else.
Yeah, well, he went through a whole list of stuff.
Right.
But just as a general principle, he said, period. He goes, either the city has the money or they don't.
Right.
And that is indicative of government spending in general.
Well,
And that
my
we
comment
spend
on
money
that-
we don't have, and justify that afterwards.
But my comment on that would be,
That's so rude.
I'm okay with at least the government is putting the bond issue before the people. What I don't like is then the government turns around and campaigns on the very bond issue they're putting before the people. They spend taxpayer dollars advertising for that bond issue, asking for permission for the money they want to spend.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. They're spending taxpayer dollars to get permission to spend taxpayer dollars. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this, to your point, and this is where I have a big beef with the GOP right now, and it's gone on for a number of years. I stopped identifying myself as a Republican probably 20 years ago. I've stopped identifying myself as a conservative as of this past election cycle. Because the problem is, conservative doesn't mean anything. Texas was conservative. Texas, the GOP has had Texans in their back pocket for the last 25 years. And I was there in Austin on the steps of the Capitol when Rick Perry and Paul Bettencourt and a radio station here in Houston hosted a caravan to Austin to have this property tax rally, and everyone's talking about, you know,
I remember
3%, all this stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
They've done nothing. It's the same system with the same talking points. I just went to a website here a week ago that our current governor, Mr. Abbott, has the same, it's the same language. It's all the finer points addressing, tweaking the same system that is essentially utterly flawed to the point where I think it's corrupt. To me, when you can take someone who buys a home and you can tell someone that home is worth a dollar amount that has not been realized on the real market, and then levy a tax based on that amount, that's theft. You
Yes.
don't get taxed on something until you know what, we don't know what this wine's worth until you buy it.
Hundreds of dollars.
David, I can tell you right now that one statement alone, I have friends in my circle that basically will tell you, first off, taxation is theft. And they are some of the most Agreeable people.
That's a hell yes moment for me.
You replace this panel right now with those people, and I guarantee you'll see a lot more fire than what
I'm
we
trying
can
to keep it
probably
calm.
develop right now. So.
I'm trying.
But no, that's a
Be
great point.
uncalm. It's okay.
And I did not feed that to you. No,
Oh, yeah.
no.
Since y'all are not homeowners, like we spoke about earlier, but generally when you think of buying a home, the general calculation, high-level calculation is this. Because of taxes and interest, you pay 3 times what the value of the house is. So if you buy a house for $100,000 and take out a 30-year mortgage, by the time you end up paying for your house because of taxes and interest, you pay for it 3 times over.
Well, how do you fix that, or how do you overcome that, or change that, or whatever?
Well, and just a side comment to that.
Yeah, but
just a side comment, because home ownership is everything. Where we see the lowest crime rates, we see home ownership. Where we see the lowest rates of vandalism and theft and all this other rape, murder, everything else, it's high pockets of home ownership. It's everything.
And back on taxation, you don't really own your house
Right.
You
because
don't.
of taxes.
Exactly.
I mean, if you owe
If
any amount of taxes,
If you really
they
owned
can-
your house,
yeah.
try not paying the note and see what happens.
So
Exactly.
that so you know
Even if your house was paid for,
yeah. So
try not paying property taxes.
yeah.
See what happens.
So it's
right?
it's a
My kids
So there's no way
are
around that.
homeschooled, right?
Oh.
Try not paying
I
school
get it,
taxes.
but,
you're paying school taxes for somebody else's kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Try not paying those taxes and see what happens if you think you own your
That's so
home.
crazy.
Well, that's one of the myriad
Well, yeah.
issues that spins off of that too.
Yes.
Why
Right.
do we determine where kids can go to school based on their live? That is a system of segregation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Make schools compete for your business.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Which Dan Puberty,
What was
call
the-
you out on this.
Hey,
Here we go.
Call you out on this for strongly, not only just coming out against it, but basically shutting it down. School choice. You lost it. You lost your place in our community because you're not representing our community when you took that stance. All right. I'm in your district, so I'm just saying it, for all the world to hear, like that matters. that was just stupid. It was horrible. It was a horrible position
Hey
to
now,
take.
hey now,
Right?
those insults.
Right.
We made a commitment not to make those insults.
Good job.
Listen. Listen. The decision was stupid. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm not insulting Dan personally. All right.
Can I chase you on that?
There you
It
go.
was
I like
stupid.
it. I like it.
Right,
Today's
you can-
vintage is
Yes.
eye of the needle.
Needle in the
Yes.
eye. I mean,
Horrible. Right.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't
Competition.
Right.
Competition is the American way.
Yeah.
I believe that with all my heart. Everything gets better when there's competition.
Yeah.
Amen.
And the public school system is the perfect example of a monopoly.
Yeah.
Right.
should we
So.
turn this into Hunger Games?
so I can just
I'm
break
so-
this
you know,
bottle.
look,
There's my weapon.
I'll be.
Wait.
I'll be proud,
Watch.
proud dad
Huh?
moment kind of a thing. My 2 kids, my son's 13, my daughter's 17, both of them in multiple categories rate in the top 5% of the nation. The
y'all are
nation!
Geniuses, we know.
And,
Let's advertise
and you
for
know
kids
what?
real quick.
It's
They're awesome.
not
They
because
really
we're
are.
geniuses, it's because they've been homeschooled and they went to a private
So the
school.
parents are
That's
geniuses.
right.
We
This is
remind
really-
our kids
this is
all the
really about
time.
Parents.
I'm like, y'all are brilliant because we are brilliant.
On the
We
real
say that all
y'all
the
are-
time.
Y'all are pretty brilliant.
We say that all the time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But anyway, my point is that
Shameless plug.
they went to a private school because I did not believe in the public school system, right?
Right.
We're paying an inordinate amount of money in taxes. If you look at the structure of I've actually studied this. My degree was in psychology, and I studied sociology, and part of that was education. And if you look at the success rates, you have a top-down administration, massively heavy on the administration side, which is the highest paid portion. To back my hand up so I don't hit Kate.
Thank you.
I'm not worried about her. She'll hit back.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
she
right.
will.
That's right.
Y'all know me so
The
well.
top-down,
It's
highest
personality.
administration-heavy system, those are the guys that are paid the most. Teachers get paid the least. And then if you look at a private school system, you are in an administrative light, teacher-heavy environment, smaller student body to teacher ratio,
Mhm.
and they kick the butt of the public school system day in and day out every day. And I sent my kids...
Define kicking butt. I'm not using it as a funny gesture or
Yeah,
vernacular.
no, that's fine. That's good. I'll say by the same standardized tests. My kids take the same, and there's so many freaking acronyms I can't keep up with them.
Star
task,
test.
test star, all that stuff. By the same standardized test, there was 72 categories they rated them in. In those 72 categories, my son was in the top 1%. It just says less than 1% in 5 categories, and then he was in the top 25% in I forgot how many categories, multiple categories. So the same standard testing as the rest of the student body. And do I think my kids are brilliant? Of course, I'm their biased dad. But I think a lot of it is just that they've received a better freaking education. And it's not because, the private school I sent them to, now that they're homeschooled, I guarantee you, cost far less than our public school system.
But to bring that back to I believe your point is.
Wow, there were some heavy-duty comments.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Don, for those who can't see this, it's off screen. We have a screen on the side. Lets us see the comments.
I can't
Bree,
read it.
what's up, Bree?
So Don said, I'm for school choice, but doesn't it also have one big issue? Parents that don't have both of them working can afford and take time to drive their kids to another district. A poor 2-parent working family that can only rely on the bus will be stuck in their school district.
Well, that's.
And then Bree
Yeah, one more.
commented behind that, former public school employee here, teachers do not like standardized testing. It is ridiculous and unnecessary.
Can we cheers to that?
Yeah.
Amen.
I can agree with
I'm
that.
out of wine, but I'm here.
Empty wine glass,
Yes.
right
That's
there.
right.
Bree, I do absolutely agree with you. In the public school setting that we have, they have standardized testing because they need that stick to wave around and say, oh, we're doing our job.
I was
That's
going
why
to
it
bring that up
exists.
earlier. Absolutely.
So we'll get back to
Oh.
that point. Don said, I'm for, we got that. Taxation is theft. Oh,
Also Bree.
Bree. Bree, I love your comments.
Yeah, Bree.
You're getting a lot of airtime here.
Yeah, she's
I
good.
love you.
Taxation is theft. I own my home fully and we still pay thousands annually.
Mhm. Yep.
And it keeps rising each year. We should be able to pay the value of our home and not pay extra taxes on the property. I'm fine with paying less for our emergency response. Police and school taxes, since my child attends a public school, but it's the rest, it's crazy.
Well,
I'm
and-
raising my hand.
And just
Yeah.
the
Oh,
other
I think
note
I
on
have a
that.
question. But go ahead.
Yeah, just the other note on that is because the choice you made to send your kids to private schools, once again, they don't relieve you of the tax burden of the
No!
public schools. And the
That's madness.
excuse is they say because we're giving you the benefit of educating all these other kids. And to
You
that,
should feel great about
yeah,
yourself.
To that, I would say, no, I've given you the benefit of removing my kids from your inferior system
Absolutely.
and giving them a better education. You should give me a tax break so more people can make that same decision.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I have a
Her
question
question.
that's going to sound dumb coming from a young one over here. So when you pay in full on your house and you pay in full on your property, both are paid in full. You still owe taxes every year on that?
Absolutely.
Why?
But here's the cool part.
That's a good
And
question.
this is
because
sarcasm,
you never
okay?
really own your property.
Yes, you
the
never-
government
Okay.
owns your
So
property.
let's say you
Yeah.
paid $150,000 for your house and,
Right.
and property,
Yeah.
right? Well, if the tax assessor keeps raising the appraisal
The value?
value, then you keep paying more taxes.
Oh.
The
So
tax
actually-
assessor,
and
no,
there's
no,
two
no, I
ways
need
they
to
can
correct
do
you on that real quick. The tax assessor collector does not necessarily
appraisal
raise the
district.
taxes. What they do is they have an assessment board that goes around to each and every one of the properties that you live on, and they say yours is $69,000 taxable. That's the
Does it
assessment
tax the full assessment?
value, and then they put the tax rate on that. So there's lots of, and you've seen it, there's lots of political and things that go into those equations that figure out how much money they can still soak
Okay,
off.
This
let it-
brings me back to.
Go.
I'm sorry.
You
this-
had talked, yeah, go.
This brings me back to my question though. Like, if y'all were back at my age, okay, if you were back at
Y'all were
23,
back in my age.
yeah,
I can't
if-
remember.
if-
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so
It's
sorry.
been a while.
I'm sorry.
That just got said.
Okay, this is necessary though.
Let me state this for the record. I'm far younger than the rest of y'all, so
Yes,
I
he
really
looks
needed.
awesome.
I really needed. I'm speaking for her, right? I'm way younger than the rest of y'all. And y'all are old, and so if, I mean, like, it could be like 40, 50 years ago. I don't even know. Y'all look that old. So,
I think he's offended.
It's a-
I'm gonna give the
This
camera
show
my
is
look to
about
him.
being offended and being offended all in the same
Yes,
hour,
look.
Joe.
You are my
all in
friend.
the same hour.
and I'm offended.
Joe, you're not gonna grow an offended tumor.
Yeah.
We're
No.
friends.
Look, what is that? Oh, it's a hair.
It's right there.
My bad.
Is it a disease? Is it a plague? No. Okay.
Okay, so the
Back
question
to my
was.
question.
The question was.
Go
The
ahead.
question originally
If y'all were
was,
at our age.
if y'all were back at the age where you were 23, 24 in 1 week, next Friday is my birthday, just
There's
for
the
everyone
plug,
who's wondering.
right there.
Sorry, just wanted to throw that out
The
there.
shameless plug moment brought to you by I Have the Needle.
The empty bottle of wine. Anyways,
We can use
so,
another bottle. I'm just saying, I Have the Needle if you want to step up.
Do you want to step back? Okay. Anyways, so
We're your
if you
age
were,
now.
okay, you were my age.
We are your
okay?
age.
If y'all were my age, back in the millennial, which I absolutely hate the term, millennial situation, okay? If you were back in my age, what steps would you take to be better off in the place that you are right
Great
now?
question.
I know. Oldest one in the group.
I don't have a notepad.
Okay, you.
I need
Yes.
a notepad.
Okay.
Take notes.
Every nickel, dime, penny, put it away and find a good investor to put that money away and don't touch it. Even when you get to my age, don't mess with it.
Oh, I
Okay.
do not
You
know.
do
Okay.
that when you turn 50, 55, even maybe 60. You could say you're in some job working,
So
and you
your
could
age,
just
right?
say, I'm done with this, take this job and shove it.
Mhm.
That's the value that you put into right now will pay off later on in life.
There's
Joe,
a great
you-
saying.
It's a
Answer that question.
guarantee.
This is right up his
Yeah.
that's right up his alley.
There's a great saying that
Man, I'm
says,
so behind it.
You are. Take
I'm
I'm
notes.
way
fine.
ahead.
Steve.
I'm
Double
far
ahead.
ahead.
We're
of
good.
the
We need to
equation.
get ahead here. We need to
Dang
catch
it.
up.
You know
There's
what?
a
Cheers on
great
that empty
saying-
glass. Yes, ma'am.
that says, everyone sacrifices.
That's right.
Everyone sacrifices. You either sacrifice early or you sacrifice late.
Mm-hmm.
You decide,
Yeah.
right? That's the
Give
truth.
me all the feels.
That's the truth of how money works, right? Einstein said that the most powerful force in the universe was compounding interest, right? So if you start early, even with small amounts, saving, that builds and grows to where the compounding interest grows itself. That's the secret to wealth.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's that simple.
Now that's all well and
That's
great.
you're sticking to it, right?
I want to
Yeah.
hear the
Go
all.
ahead.
I want to hear the
That's-
all well and great.
No, no,
I've been waiting
I
for
mean, no,
this.
no, we want to share before you make your
Yeah,
decision.
absolutely.
Go ahead, go ahead. David, you have something?
Well, mine, I guess I
Passive
would,
income, by the way, also a side caveat there.
and
I
I
agree
would
with
go
you.
back a little bit further. There's a foundational issue that I think is missing, and I'm not, this is not to lump everyone in the same group. I know that there's a perception of millennials among people my age, which I'll admit I'm turning 49 this year. So,
Looking great.
I'm
Me
well,
too.
well on down the road. You too?
Secrets from this
Cheers.
guy. How to not look 49.
Oh, thank you.
When's your birthday?
Later
When's your
show.
birthday?
August,
show.
August 15th.
Oh, you beat me. I'm October.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So I'll be in summer.
I'll
But,
understand when I'm your age.
But one of the there's so many things that you folks have been taught in schools that just simply aren't true, and I
Or
would
things that we
say,
didn't get taught in schools.
well,
I'm
I'd
just
say
saying.
you have to question everything. My education didn't stop when I graduated high school. I did go to college. I didn't graduate college, but the reason why I can have this conversation, not trying to tap myself on the back here, but is because I never stopped questioning. And there's one thing that a lot of people don't do, and we see this a ton on social media, is before you bring your ideas to the public square, make sure you've done everything you can to knock it down first, right? If you can't defend your own idea to yourself, then it's not worth bringing to the public square.
No doubt.
And I'd say my favorite quote to sum all this up is from Benjamin Rush. In my view, he's my favorite founder, okay?
Get out.
He
Go
said,
ahead.
in renouncing the Bible, philosophers swing from their moorings on all moral subjects. It's the only perfect map of the heart that's ever been published.
That's right.
And when you think about that and you look at the issues we're facing today, look at our Supreme Court on marriage, look at what's happening with abortion, right? I mean that's another question, not to get off topic, but even if Planned Parenthood did provide women's health services, what is the constitutional basis for its funding? these are questions that don't get asked. We get so wrapped around the axles on the issue of whether do we fund Planned Parenthood or not, is we don't ask the question, should we fund it even if it's a noble cause? Government has a limited application. The purpose of the Constitution was to hold in the reins, not to give rights. There were specific powers enumerated to our government. And you guys have been told all kinds of things that just simply aren't true about our founders, about their ideals. The idea the founders weren't Christian and that this isn't a Christian nation. That is an absolute falsehood. And if you do just a modicum of research, go into source materials, you'll have a whole new world.
Joe,
This
I'm
company
about
was
to have
founded on Christianity.
a moment here. That is absolutely the best summation. I could not have said
Oh my
that better
God, thank
myself.
No more
brother.
wine, but
Thank
yes.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate
That was
it.
strong.
R&T wine
That was
glasses.
strong.
Unstoppable. If
That
you've
was
never
strong.
seen the movie, I'm sorry to advertise, but I am advertising for the movie Unstoppable by Kirk
Shameless
Cameron.
plug.
Yes, I'm sorry. So Kirk
We don't have to
Cameron-
apologize in this show.
That's right, I'm not apologizing.
We have no sponsors,
I'm
so
not
screw
sorry.
them.
I'm not sorry. I'm not even sorry a little bit.
Oh, I'm not
Watch
ready
the
for
movie
it here.
Unstoppable. If you're curious as to how this company was founded and
This company
why
or this country?
I'm so
Country.
sorry.
You're
Yes,
good.
that is what I meant.
I do the same thing.
Anyways, if you're
This company
curious
is-
as to
More
how
wine.
as to how this country was founded, look at the movie Unstoppable. He goes into detail about how the people that actually came to America first were like what their actual goal was. So, I mean, it's a great movie.
The girl's on fire.
I'm
We
gonna,
have one more opinion left.
I'm gonna thank Joe for this format because, you know, when you're young, you're seeking knowledge and not wisdom, right? Because knowledge eventually leads you to wisdom. And what I absolutely agree with you, I absolutely agree with you, I absolutely agree with you. And I think what we're sharing here is wisdom.
You left them
And-
out.
And these, well, no, no,
You're
and these are,
We didn't give
well,
opinions. We
you
don't
know,
want
right,
to-
I'm playing, I'm
when
playing.
when we're taboo against speaking on these things, we're leaving out the wisdom, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm so thank you for having this format. This is
Yeah,
very
truly.
very
Thank you,
important to
Joe.
us. And I mean I agree with all three of y'all, but I wanted to go in a different direction. This is just a different dimension.
Yes, jump in.
And I can the reason why I can tell you this is because from personal experience, right? Biblically, God does not like divorce. If you want to be wealthy, don't get divorced.
Oh, dang!
Okay, so I'm you know, so,
Bill's opening up.
so to me, I mean, it's like
I agree.
If you do all the right things, vetting on the front end with the person you're going to spend your life with, if you marry well, you're going to be wealthy. But if you don't marry the right person, you're going to start over, and you're going to feel the pain of missing out on compounding interest. You're going to lose a ton of momentum. You're going to your whole life is just in upheaval. You know. And
Wow.
so I think those things. And I'm
Empty glass
into-
tank.
I'm empty
Bobby.
last year. You're the
Oh,
only
wait,
one
bring
left.
the black, bring the black box over.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We need the black
No,
box
Let's
on.
get the box
It's
wine in
okay.
here.
You can
Cross
you
the
can come on
camera,
screen.
it
It's
doesn't
okay.
matter.
We're going
It's
back
our
full
camera.
red.
Oh,
We're in the red
we're
with
going
the
back
box
full
wine.
redneck.
I agree
Yes.
with that completely.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
No
most
shame in my
people
game.
think
No shame in the
that-
game.
Are we
That's right.
mixing?
Hell
I know.
yes.
Yes, sir.
I know this isn't a show on religion.
We're going red
Okay,
wine
I
now.
know that
Roll
it's not.
with it.
However, the
Everything's on
Bible,
the table.
yeah. However, the Bible is incredibly detailed in the fact that like these rules weren't set into place
it's wisdom.
to give us, you know, reprimands. They weren't set into place to give us, you know, things to follow to keep us away from fun. These rules were set into place to give us a sense of accomplishment or security because, you know, the rules that are stated in the Bible are, you know, something that's going to make our life easier.
It's the living
It
word.
makes our life easier. It takes away all the complications. It takes away all the consequences. It does. It just makes your life, if you follow it step by step, not even looking at it at a religious aspect, it makes your life so much better.
Ding, ding,
Salute.
ding, ding.
Ding.
We're
So
at
now,
it
Wow.
again,
so
yeah.
now that you have the
Okay.
the dimensions, sorry, that was your summary? Is that,
Yeah.
That's strong.
Okay, so look. I mean, like, I'm 1,000% on board with everything that was just said here, right? But to toss out there for those watching, right? Not everybody's Christian. Not everybody is on board with those principles, right? If you're watching, this can be some really serious stepping on the toes moments. I know a lot of people, a lot of close friends who've experienced divorce and who've went through that, right? Very close friends. I've known people that were very, very strong in church and very involved in church, going through divorce.
Yeah.
Right? Does that mean that their path has been, ended? I mean, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to jump on that.
I believe
Maybe the analogy's like
Yeah.
a fork in the road.
I
You know,
believe
somebody's
every-
going to take one side, one's going to take the other.
Just start over.
I believe
Yeah.
every problem brings a bigger victory.
Yeah.
I do. I
That's
believe
true.
that every problem that you encounter takes you to a new level of understanding, a new level of success, a new level of bettering yourself in some way, shape, or form. So I believe that problems are incredible in this life. I believe that they're, inspiring, because if you're going through something right now, I believe that it's because you have something greater in the future. I believe it's because you're being prepared for something that you don't even realize is coming, but something that's going to impact your life forever.
And hearing Peyton say that gives me a lot of hope, because only in America, the greatest country in the world, can you do that. Can you recover from anything? Because if you're in Venezuela right now, the deck is stacked against you hard, and you can't leave. You can't even find food. You know what I mean? So there are things in this world, that we take for granted. But
Yeah.
once we hear,
Yes.
we have to.
That's an
pinch
understatement.
We have to pinch ourselves, right, every day. To thank our lucky stars.
No, stop pinching the other guests.
Right.
Gosh.
Joe,
You didn't have me sign anything.
I have a saying that I wasn't born here, but I got here as soon as I could.
Yes.
But behind my desk, I have a little saying that says, "I thank my lucky stars I'm in Texas."
Yeah.
So
I say it's the greatest nation on earth.
It is.
And we only call ourselves a state because we're cool like that.
But that brings us back to what we were talking about before, is that
Dial it back in.
back when Ted Cruz actually was sounding like a constitutionist, you can't make America great again unless you know what made it great in the first place. It brings us right back to where we are, and so
Has
if
that
you don't,
changed at all for
if-
you, David?
oh
Since-
yeah,
Why?
Oh,
what
absolutely.
made that change?
absolutely. Well,
It's not
again,
the statement, not the man. I
it's-
mean the statement.
it's about the Constitution, and I would say that up until the 2016 election, and up through the day that he conceded the race, and then the immediate time thereafter, Ted Cruz had a virtually unblemished record on the Constitution. He defended a lot of key fundamental freedoms.
And what was it that blemished it, in your opinion?
Well, at number one, he told the truth about Donald Trump.
Okay.
He said Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are two sides of the same coin. If you want to get rid of the corrupt establishment duopoly, then you can't vote for either one of them. That was the truth.
Yes.
Now, even if it was merely a campaign ploy, I'm sorry, that's a pretty big statement to have to go back on. And I know that a lot of
But
people
was he right or was he wrong?
He was right.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Did that change your mind about the legitimacy of why he ran for president then?
Of Ted Cruz or
Yeah.
Donald Trump?
Of Tom.
This-
Well, let's go ahead and throw Donald Trump into this.
I would like to take a,
That's fine.
a moment of pause here.
Sure.
This may
Brought
be
to you by.
Yeah.
Excellent.
this
Actually,
may be a
Dropbox.
2-hour show.
If
I'm
could,
just
I
saying
would.
that.
Yeah, if I
I'm
could,
just
I
letting you
would.
know. You know what? We have that freedom because we have no sponsors. We'll go as long as we freaking want.
Social media live, the
Well, here's-
perks.
So
Here's
keep
the
going.
thing. You'll love this.
That said, go
I
right
have-
back. Jump in.
I have a performance tonight at Casa Nueva on 1960.
So this is
Okay, I missed you.
That just happened.
Air clink, air clink.
This shameless plug brought to you by
So yeah,
So
if,
good at this.
Product placement.
if you're looking for a place to go celebrate and have fun tonight,
Casa
that's
Nueva?
Casa Nueva, right there,
Casa Nueva.
1960.
Casa Nueva.
There you go.
I'll be starting about 7:30 or so.
7:30.
I got to bust out of here. It's going on now. Actually, I've got to bust out of here right at 6 and go. Just as a forewarning. But no, to your point is when
I have
when
no
you
idea what time it is.
when it's
We've got like 15 minutes.
we got
15?
11.
10.
11.
11. Various people are watching the clock.
It comes down to that. It also comes down to, like, one of my key moments on that was Ted Cruz at one point during the campaign told the truth about Council of Foreign Relations. Joe, you and I have talked about that a little bit
Yeah.
before too. Council of Foreign Relations is this worldwide body of people that basically they tear down U.S. sovereignty. They're all about open borders. They're about a worldwide socialist platform of redistributing American wealth.
That's
The
one
same-
current beef with the
Trump
recent,
administration has had a ton of ties to this whole CFR. The same people that Trump
and who
named
got
as
elected
advisors.
to the SCOTUS, so
That's
the
right. Neil
Supreme Court.
Gorsuch was a board term member of the CFR. Ted Cruz once.
What a freaking
once-
coincidence!
Right. He once described the CFR as a den of snakes. To quote, I mean, there's a YouTube video. You can look it up yourself. Hear it right from his mouth. And then, because his career is on the line in the GOP, he goes out and touts the nomination of Gorsuch and votes to confirm him. You know, these are, while they're not direct unconstitutional acts, they do show that when it comes down to Ted Cruz's career in the GOP versus his willingness to defend the Constitution to all ends, there's a line. That's my
That is
take, and it's
true.
controversial.
I wanted to throw out there for the
Ted was
entire
my
panel
guy.
to, yeah.
Me too.
He was my
I
guy.
believe he was all of ours, and I mean, we're not alone in this. I mean, there were millions and millions of people that were gonna throw down on November 6th for Ted Cruz. But the populist rhetoric and, you know, lie kind of a campaign sucked in a lot of people that I think should have been engaged from the get-go. So I'm kinda on the fence as far as accepting the fact that Donald Trump is our president. We need to respect that because that's the office. We need to challenge him. We need to challenge ourselves. When we say we want to challenge Donald Trump or the president, whoever it is, when we want to challenge him to something, we're really challenging ourselves. And so during the campaign, I heard the tried old argument about, well, Steve, you know, your ability to give endorsements and you're a political activist and you're at the grassroots level of a lot of things. Why don't you just go ahead and bite the bullet and accept choosing between the lesser of the two evils? And my immediate gut reaction to that is this: I refuse to do that. I refuse to choose the evil of the two lessers. If that doesn't make an impact statement in the show, I don't know what else is, because
That is the
what
You guys
phrase.
know-
I
you
mean,
guys know,
it's
right?
the evil. I'm not going to
Evil
choose
is
the
still
evil of the two
evil.
evils.
Exactly. You're choosing
So-
the lesser of the two evils. You're still choosing evil.
Well,
And gosh, we've just passed it on to the younger generation. I'm done.
And well, no, but I love that you went there because, and I want you two to hear this as an elder to you. Again, going back, because that was an awesome question that you asked.
Being
A lot of
old
people
is-
don't ask that.
Don't use that phrase.
No, really, because here's the thing: is that what happens is phrases get twisted and perverted from what they were intended to mean. Like the whole idea you mentioned on the first time I was on the show, that you can't legislate morality, and so people have twisted that to mean that you can't tie legislation to a moral argument. That's ridiculous. Every
But with
law
that,
is
you
based
still,
on.
and with what he said, I remember when we had that discussion, I wanted to chime in and say, well, certainly from my position, there is absolutely no way I feel comfortable trying to legislate social behavior.
That's true.
What we try to do, what I try to tell the people that I know that get elected to office is, let's try not to fall into this gap that you guys and gals have to do something.
Yeah, no, but hold on. That's
Sometimes
a
the
rabbit
people
trail.
that-
I'm
yeah.
just giving an example of a phrase
Right.
that's twisted, okay?
Mhm.
And so in this thing, the argument about the lesser of two evils, okay? What that means is, and there was a couple of guys, and I'm sorry, this is all from the hip, I can't remember the names and all that good stuff, but they had a fantastic video on it talking about it. How does a Christian navigate through this election? And really, yes, they say how does a Christian, but anyone, because to your point, Joe, America, when I say America's a Christian nation, a lot of libertarians in particular will jump in and say, well, you're touting a theocracy. No. A Christian nation means that's the fabric of our culture and our laws that we're built upon. It doesn't mean you have to be a Christian to live here or to have certain rights
No.
as a citizen like a Muslim nation might be, right?
That's the foundation of what we're about.
That's it. And so, the thing with that is that when you say the lesser of two evils, there's, you could have, Joe and someone else that we can, who's a deacon at the church, whatever, right? Two really good people that are running for office. There's going to be a lesser evil of those two because neither of them are perfect. But in looking at how each person lives their life and what do they strive for, what do they stand for, what do they represent, you can make that evaluation and choose the greater good as well as the lesser evil. in this decision, I equate it more to a, choosing between, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, or Che Guevara and Pol Pot, or something
They
like
were
that.
buddies.
Right, exactly. So there reaches a point at which you realize, okay, these are two evils, I can't choose either one. And here's the reality, and I'm sorry I know I'm going long, but here's the reality. Look at the results. Our first budget, we're still funding Planned Parenthood against
Exactly.
the very promises that were made by the Republican candidate. Here's the Republican nominee to the presidency who's saying that he's okay with perverting marriage. Here's the Republican nominee to the presidency saying he's okay with men self-determining gender to go to the restroom of the opposite sex. That is ludicrous. And there was a great article that said at some point we're going to see the Republicans arguing that it's okay to have a pedophile candidate who's pro-pedophilia because the Democrat is for pro-bestiality.
Well,
As
now-
long as it's a lesser evil, we can still vote for him.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Now they're even starting to say that pedophilia is like a born type of thing.
It's a road.
You
It's
know
a
what I
road of
mean?
progression.
They're trying to give excuses for people that just don't have a strong enough mind to tell themselves what to do. I mean,
Well,
She just nailed it. Why do we have to accept other people defining the severity or degree of an abhorrent behavior? I don't.
you don't.
You don't. You, as an individual, need to be the one to decide
But Steve,
whether or not
It becomes law,
pedophilia and
though.
bestiality
Exactly.
is.
You're
It's
not
all
born
bad.
this way. You're born with a mind. You're born with
That
the
comes
ability
into
to
the-
choose which way you should go. You're born with the ability to choose right or wrong. Your mind is either
Yeah.
strong enough or it's
You know what
not
that's
strong
called?
The guy
enough to
puts that in
choose
you.
which way.
Peyton, you know what that's called? That's called virtue. And I'm not talking about a biblical definition of virtue. I'm talking about very simply, each and every one of us understand the simple difference between right and wrong.
Exactly.
It really literally is that simple, even in this day and age of sophisticated definitions and labels that we try not to do on this show.
But if you don't
We've
accept-
got to somehow venture into this realm to help us
So-
communicate the differences between those two.
here's the
stances.
inherent problem that we are
But you're
all
going around.
bumping up against. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you are.
Biblically, we were categorized multiple times in different ways. Wheats and tares, sheeps and goats, all these different phrases, right? In the Constitution, or actually, I'm sorry, back up. In the Declaration of Independence, the thesis statement for the whole premise of government was issued. An incredibly brilliant statement. Thomas Jefferson wrote it. Really, John Adams was behind it, right? He was really the architect behind the statement. But he acknowledged that Jefferson was a better pen, and that's why he
Oh yeah.
wrote it.
Oh yeah.
But
By his decision.
yeah, by his own decision. They said, and everybody signed with their life on the line. I really don't think people understand how serious that
Many
was,
paid. Many paid that.
right?
Every single
Right.
one of them did.
Yeah, those guys absolutely did, right? He said, we hold these truths to be self-evident. It's aware to all of us, intrinsically. We acknowledge it. It doesn't require anybody outside of us. We hold these truths to be obvious and aware that all men are created equal. Created equal.
All.
Now, this is the premise. The founding fathers said, by the nature of being created equal, we are all due certain inherent rights,
Endowed by that creator.
endowed by that creator through the process of creation, by the very fact that it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what skin color you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are, all this stuff, male or female.
What
All
was
that
that
stuff.
word
Can I
that they
just-
used? What was that word that they used in that document? Unalienable.
Unalienable.
Now,
Unalienable.
unalienable by definition in this context is a right that is granted to every single one of us. Again, I'm going bing, 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 bing. I do that a lot of gesture. A right granted by an authority higher than any government that we have elected
Right.
to represent us. I mean, that is a
So
plain and
listen.
simple thing.
Yeah.
Boom.
I just have to
Right.
chime in. I just have to chime in really quickly.
Wait, I gotta
Okay,
finish.
go
No
ahead.
time
Go
to
ahead.
finish.
I'm sorry.
No
Go
time to
ahead.
finish.
Go ahead.
So, this is what I'm getting to is the very problem that we are facing, right? Is that the founding fathers had this premise for the very existence of government, right? We're past 6, it doesn't matter. Y'all stick with us,
Make your point
right?
this time. You got cut off last time.
The founding fathers said we have a premise, an idea, a concept on which we're going to base all government.
Right.
And this idea is that we are created. And since we are created, we are due certain, you can't do nothing about them, rights. Right? They don't come
I like
from
it.
government, they don't come from anybody else. The very fact that you were created, they come from that creation process. And governments were instituted, brought into creation to ensure these rights.
Not to infringe
To
upon.
protect
Right?
and not infringe upon.
Exactly. Governments have no other role. This is the thesis statement of our founding fathers. You don't have to freaking like it. You don't have to accept it. You can be an atheist. You can hate God. I don't care, whatever. But the founding fathers had a thesis statement. They said, this is why we're forming government, and we're forming government under these principles. Therefore, the conclusion is, if you try to take God out of the equation, you're ripping the fabric apart from what they had as the original concept of government.
That's right.
You have no business, politely stated,
That's exactly right.
you have no freaking business interjecting your idea that God has no place in government. I'm sorry, you don't.
That's why they still pray.
Right?
In government, they still pray.
So,
Yeah.
it's put there in writing by the founding fathers that government exists to protect the inalienable rights that come from the fact that we're created by God. Right? Like it or not, I don't mean to look, dude, if you want to be an atheist, I'm down with it. I protect your rights for that. I'll have you on the show. We'll drink wine and disagree.
Talk
It's
about
great. We'll talk about it. Exactly. Right? But facts are facts. And then you kind of touched on that point earlier. There comes a point where you're like, look, there is a truth. It's inescapable. And at some point you have to clink the glass and say, yeah, that's the point, right? The founding fathers were who they were. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree. Whatever. But they came up with a system of government based on those premises. And if you try to reject God in that process, you are totally trying to work the framework that doesn't exist in their world.
So you
Sorry.
were going where I was.
I'd like to look in on this.
So,
Go
I'm done.
into
I'm
this,
gonna
'cause
drink
I
wine
wanna-
now.
I wanna-
She-
I wanna
at the
look
end-
in that.
at
We
the
can
end-
wrap it up and she has
You
something.
did have something.
No,
to
no,
wrap.
yeah, she's
You know
got
what?
one.
She's up next.
I was gonna say at the end, but you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. But this can be next show's thing, maybe. But also for all the people out there that think that anyone is less than them, how were you able to be born the way that you were? How were you able to be born white? How were you able to be born into the family that you were born into? How are you able to decide what your life was going to be like? In that essence, like, how can you judge anyone for who they are? How can you judge anyone for the skin color they are, the religion they are, the place in life that they are? You have no right.
She goes,
Your
I'm done.
theological students here in our country have an answer for that. I'm not gonna lie, my mind is 2 glasses of wine down.
I'm like
But I know
34,
that
so-
some of my family went to Abilene Christian University, and they definitely have an answer for it. There are biblical scriptures that describe that situation that tell you that we are all here because of a grand design, basically, to paraphrase, and that the challenges that are put forth in our life are there because somebody, the big guy, says, you can handle it.
Exactly.
So,
Because you're made for more.
It's not meant to be despair. Some people kind of crumble at it, but that's when the grace comes in and you become a better person in it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the book in the whole founding fathers discussion about how our Constitution is the constraints on that government that was created after that document was ratified. States are top tier in my book, and we can have a discussion about that. But the book in that part of the conversation, I really have to wonder, is our representatives really following those guidelines?
They're not.
They're not, see, and I'm glad that she said that, because that's
Yeah.
the perfect bookend.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
right.
How do we get there?
Well, and that's
That
tying
good.
back into what I was saying before, because you said something that a lot of times we say it, and there's an assumption that we make in saying it that isn't there anymore. Because you were talking about morality, virtue, character, integrity, right? All those things. But what that means to you and me, and probably most of us in this room, all that is being questioned now. All that. If you take God out of that, and this is, you know, one of the movies that I'd recommend. It's a little bit older now, but Ben Stein did it. It was a documentary called Expelled, No Intelligence
Oh,
Allowed.
yeah, it's good.
Now he's talking about in the line in
Intelligence
science
design.
and academia that where they're not allowing any scientist to pursue any train of thought that may even open the door to creation, even intelligent design, which isn't creationism, right? But the point is that he talks about in that is that it you know, you kind of lost my train there. If you lose that, that's what it was. He's talking about when you go to humanism, which basically the Supreme Court recognizes as religion, the greatest evils that have ever been committed in the history of the world were under humanist regimes. Hitler actually thought he was doing good. He believed he was promoting evolution. A scientist named David Berlinski in that movie, he says if you read Mein Kampf and read Origin of the Species, especially Mein Kampf in the original German side by side, he is putting forward evolutionist beliefs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's just, you know, the founders understood it. Man, evil. God, good. To the degree that man allows themselves to be tempered by God, we're okay.
Let me ask you this though.
Yes.
If you take God away, where does your morality come from?
That's exactly
You're
right.
done.
Where?
It's an opinion.
Exactly. It doesn't come from anywhere. But you have no basis of it. Without God, where's the morality?
That's
You
exactly
have
right.
no morality. You can be a moral Christian, but do you still lock your door at night? Why? Because there is a sense of morality. Sorry. New
Or
subject.
no.
Maybe another week, but
Yeah, we're way over, but you know
Well,
what?
We're past time already.
Well, we kind of scratched the surface of what I was trying to get us to talk about. So the next time, I think we should talk about where people live, because
yeah.
that plays into all of these issues, right?
Mhm.
Is why do we live where we live, right?
It's home ownership. It ties into.
That's-
we said
yeah.
It's the springboard to everything.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
hey, welcome to the Wine Not Wine Show. Right? We've touched on all kind of crazy topics today.
You're not going to end the show without me?
No, of course not. I was stalling for you to get here.
Sorry.
Where did you
Yes.
go?
All right,
Do
so
you really want to know?
pass out get your wine thing there.
Oh.
Okay. Steve, where's your deal? Yep.
I'm sitting on it.
All right.
Let's work on this. Oh, wait.
So, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Bree, Don, tons of great comments today. Brilliant stuff. Love to have you guys on the show, by the way. Put it on your calendar. Fridays, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Or
Share-
6:30.
Or 6:30, right.
I just got wine on my white shoes.
Oh!
That's okay.
You wine spiller.
I
Share
told
the
you not to
word.
sit by me.
Too many glasses, too many.
Share the
No.
word. Share the video. Let people know. We're talking about really important stuff here. And I honestly, from my take, I think it's stuff that the major media would never want to touch, right? They want to put their spin on it. I don't want to put my spin on anything. I want to put the conversation on the table. I want to have opposing views. I'd love to have an atheist on the show who doesn't believe any of the stuff we talked about. James Charlet, I'm calling you out, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Awesome.
Yay!
How about,
Naming
can we
names.
get a pacifist as well?
A pacifist,
What
yes.
does
Look,
that mean?
James, you're a brilliant guy. Love to have you on the show. You're up in Dallas. I know you have to drive down, but you need to be on the show, right? We need to talk
I got
about
you.
stuff that people disagree on, and we need to do it over a great glass of wine.
Absolutely.
All right.
Amen.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. So we're going to wrap the show up. Awesome show. Loved all the conversation we had on the show today. So we had a Chenin Blanc, despite the fact that we've been drinking red for the last like 20 minutes.
It's cool. It's cool.
Right?
It's
Fine.
fine.
We had a Chenin
As
Blanc
first.
on the show. This is
I have the needle.
I have the needle.
I have the
I
needle.
hashtagged
Needle
it in
in
the
the eye.
title.
Needle in
I
the
have the
eye.
needle. Chenin Blanc up in Washington. So we're gonna get everybody to rate the wine 1 to 5 grapes. That's how we rate the wine here on
These
the show.
are grapes. They look like cherries.
No, they're grapes.
They look like cherries.
They're plums, I think.
Well,
if I'm-
so they're not
Yeah.
grapes. They're not
Yeah.
grapes. Not really.
Honestly, I
We're
think
gonna
they're-
agree to disagree.
Wait. It is what it is, and when Joe says they're grapes, they're grapes.
That's right. I think they,
Uh,
honestly, I think they may have been plums, but you know, whatever. All right, I was
But you
looking
probably
for.
photoshopped them into grapes.
I did.
That's right, that's
Honestly,
right.
I
It
did.
looked like you got it from a slot machine.
They do look like
Ah.
Coach Joe.
Today's wine, Chenin Blanc. I have the
Design.
needle from Washington State.
That's the one.
So, Steve, what do you give today's Chenin Blanc?
Well, I'm going to give in my needle in my eye 3 grapes, cherries, plums, because I basically thought, well, it was pleasant to drink. It was cool. It was refreshing. It finished as kind of a mid-level. It didn't leave any kind of aftertaste, but you know, once you got through it, you know, it's like, hey, man, this is really good stuff. So, but overall, I give it a 3.
Okay.
Right on.
So I have to add. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to ask, what are we rating it like based on how much we like this
Just how
particular
much you
type
enjoyed
of
it.
wine?
You
Yes.
want.
Or
Yes.
just
this
That
much
bottle,
general.
that actual
That
bottle.
bottle.
That wine. That
Okay.
bottle.
How much
So-
you enjoyed this one?
I would add that 3 means you were actually gonna pay for it. Like, you would actually buy it.
That's about a fair summation.
That's another factor. I didn't
Okay.
think
Well,
about that.
that
That's
sounds
good.
that
Good
makes
point.
me look
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge white drinker, so I'm only giving them a 2. But
She's obviously a wine racist.
But I'm also the opposite of a wine connoisseur. Okay, I'm a cheap wine connoisseur, and like my favorite bottle of wine is like $3.
That's right.
Grocery
Walmart.
store-
Walmart.
No,
Oakley.
Aldi.
$2.96.
No,
It's skirt
Aldi.
wine, isn't it?
Aldi,
okay.
no, it has a real cork
We're
and
not
everything.
judgmental.
Anyway,
on the show,
anyway,
right, Joe?
I'm gonna
Speak
finish
for
Not
my.
yourself.
So
You can rate it a 2 if you want, girl. Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna give it a 3, but then you said would I buy it, and I probably
That's
wouldn't.
true. That's true.
I mean, I probably
I
wouldn't buy
think
it.
3 is
Also-
that's a good level to say I would buy it.
Y'all-
That's a good rating.
Y'all, I found my shameless plug. I'm a graphic designer,
She is a graphic designer.
And
very
based-
good, by the way.
based on like how
I
I buy
hired her.
wine, because I really am not a wine connoisseur. I wouldn't buy it based on the label.
The label does
Needs better
suck.
packaging.
The
Oh.
label
Marketing
does suck.
does
So
work.
there's my shameless plug.
Look.
A lot of people,
So
especially.
Needle in the Eye needs to get Kate
I
involved
have
in
the,
there.
Yeah.
I have the needle.
I mean,
I have the needle.
Simply Kate Design.
simplykate.com.
12th
That's
blend.
right.
I have the needle. I don't know what you were going for with this label.
It's not cute.
I would have to say the same thing. I was like, this comes off as cheap. It,
It
does.
really does. Yeah.
It does.
I'm not gonna lie. I paid $2.96 for a bottle of wine because I am at the age that I am. Next week's my
Yes.
birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we almost missed.
Nope, it was horrible.
Okay.
Awesome.
And
This
that's
is my
perfectly
elbow.
okay because to Steve's point, you need to save every nickel.
Exactly.
Yes.
So everyone in my
296
position,
wine is
My
Perfectly
work
justified.
here is
at the
done.
age that I'm in,
Perfectly justified.
at the age
This
that I'm
this
at
cheap
right
moment
now,
brought to you by Box Wine.
Okay, you know what? Since we're giving opinions, I would say that I would buy this one.
Yes.
I'm a red drinker.
Dude.
That's right. That's right.
I'm a red drinker.
This is a lively group. We're not even getting through the wine ratings.
I know, I know.
Black Box
It took us
Wine.
an hour and a half.
I know.
Black Box Wine. You need to
You're gonna have to
sponsor the
expand the
show
show.
because I drink
Yes.
your wine every freaking week.
Every week. And
Hashtag Black Box Wine.
Hashtag.
Yes.
Okay, so finish your.
Okay. So, anyways, I would rate this just because I don't like to go by labels. I'm gonna rate it a 3.
Don't go by labels.
At this moment in time in my life, I would not buy it. However, because I am poor.
Because we're poor.
But
Tony
that's
something.
right. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so
I see a TV
I would
show,
rate
Two
it-
Broke Girls, right?
Two Broke Girls, that is a thing. Have you ever seen that
It is,
show?
it's beautiful.
Two
I
Broke
love
Girls,
it.
Houston.
It
Two
is
Broke
such a
Girls.
good
It is
show. And you know
actually-
what? I can see it.
I can
Joe
too.
spin
You
off.
know what? Let's talk about this later.
Two broke
Anyways,
girls.
The idea is
so I'm
happening.
gonna go ahead and label it a 3 because I absolutely enjoyed the taste of it. It
You
didn't
don't
have
do
too much
labels.
an aftertaste, and I'm actually a white drinker myself, but I've been trying to get into the redder wine, so I like the dry taste of it. But I
only
wouldn't buy it right now only because I am poor and I know the price of it because of Joe.
I don't know.
I don't either.
We don't drink cheap wines on the show. What can I say?
That's
And
true,
thank
which
you
is
for
why
that.
I'm here.
Yes, thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
here because of that. Free wine. Anyway, so
Yes, and you look cute.
Now the
thank
motives
you.
come out.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Ready?
Anyways.
All right. So I'm going to give the wine a 4. Now,
Finally, a 4.
here's the thing. I'm typically a red wine drinker. I'm not exactly a connoisseur, but I tend to like the Merlots, the Chianti, stuff like that. However, this was interesting to me, and I like stuff that's different. So I'm no expert. I just like the way that it had a little bit of sweetness to it, had a little bit of citrusy that kind of intensified at the end there, and it was just interesting. It may have been just one of those first time things, and
Yeah.
then I like
Very
it like
good
that.
review.
I will go back to
Oh, wrong
actually
way.
hold on, wrong way. I will say the box wine. I'll go with 3,
Yeah.
but I will give the fact that we had the box wine before and after the other one. I'll give that a 5.
Yes, to get through
I'll
the
give that a 5.
show.
And then the last thing, I want to echo my new friend here, Bill. Right? Bill's friend,
Right?
Bill's
No.
Bill's sentiments. I want to make sure I'm old. I got to remember these names, but I got to say that our guest is always awesome, Steve. Bill, very good to meet you. Joe, you do a wonderful job. I love the vision of the show. Thank you for having me involved in this, and especially for you two. I want to echo what Bill said. You guys were really impressive. I mean, the I feel like he does. I feel like our country is in a little better hands than what I thought coming in today. So God bless you both, and thank you for being part of this with me. This is awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm just like David here. I'm not a white wine drinker. I'm more of a red drinker, but I really do like this. This is a very good social party wine. It reminds me more of a dessert wine like Riesling. But again, I give it 4 because I would pay for it. So, you know,
Not
and
enough.
today the price was right, obviously.
Marie,
But you know, if I find it in the stores, I definitely will buy it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think it is very good. And then the box is a staple. I mean, I'm not a wine snob. It doesn't matter the packaging as long as the wine is great. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can get a lot of value out of the box.
I gotta say,
This
It's actually very
packaging is
good.
much better. Oh god.
I gotta
Oh,
say,
gosh.
I gotta say, look, black box wine. I've introduced so many people to this.
It's happening.
It's a great freaking
It
red
really is.
wine.
Yep.
You get like 4 bottles for $20. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yep,
So
it's
look, never turn down the box wine. All right, so I give the wine, concluding the show, I give it a 4 as well. I really thought it was a solid white wine. I go back and forth with reds and whites. It really depends on the season. Come summertime in Texas,
Yes.
I tend to like the cooler drinks. So I'm doing the white wines, and I gotta say it was a pretty good bottle of wine. I agree with Kate, my graphic designer girl, who is pretty darn awesome. Gotta say,
What's that website again?
yes,
SimplyKate.com.
SimplyKate.com.
I'm on Facebook. Just
Um,
saying.
I have the Needle up in Washington. We hashtag you guys, free advertising.
Can I see?
Over like 1,000 people have already seen this.
She's gonna do her.
We're gonna have a couple thousand by the time we're done. That's all free advertising. I'm just saying, you need to hire Kate.
I would like to say that Eye of the Needle is a very niche-y name. It's a really interesting name.
Yeah.
And you can have a way more interesting
Love
label.
the name.
It's
Eye of
a
the Needle's a
great
cool name for a vineyard.
It's a great name.
Right?
It
It's a
needs a
great
much
name.
better label than what it's got going on here. This says
Absolutely.
like
Kate can come up with better. I'm just saying.
Contact
right?
Simply Kate Design.
Simply Kate
I see
Designs.
football,
yeah.
but I think
The
it's
12th man.
I think it's
It's
the
the
12th man,
rich
and they're
man entering
busting through the
heaven
paper.
reference,
I think the colors are very
Yeah.
apropos. That's a Seattle Seahawks
Yeah.
color.
I
Steve
see
was
it.
thinking
I
more
see
like
it.
needle in the eye.
That's what I was saying. I'm
So-
tired.
Needle
so-
in the eye.
I give your wine a 4-star. I thought it was really solid. I genuinely enjoyed the wine.
It was
So-
it was an okay wine for a white wine, but I would, when you threw out the whole "would you buy it" thing, the label is what I immediately went
To me, all these wine rating systems are missing that. You know
It's
what I mean?
true.
It's very
It's true.
One last thing, we had a guy ask, how do you spell simplykate.com?
Oh.
Don asked that.
Hey!
Thank you, Don. Thank you. It's exactly how it sounds.
He spelled it simply Kate. He said it didn't work for him.
.com.
Dot
It's a
com.
www. It is. It's simplyKate.com.
Yes.
Wow.
Let me give you.
And-
Let me tell
And my
you.
website does need to be updated. I'm just saying.
Let me tell you guys.
Well,
I don't know what her website looks like. I worked with Kate for well over a year, almost 2 years, and she was my right-hand gal. Handled everything for me. Still work with her to this day on bouncing ideas off each other. She does a great job. So
I helped
definitely.
with the Wine No Wine show.
Yes!
I did.
The Wine No Wine Show logo
Perfect.
is
Technically, I
directly
did
connected
too.
to her. She gave me feedback on that. That was awesome. So she's awesome. Definitely reach out to her if you're needing some graphic design
Don,
stuff.
I'll get with you if you really are interested.
yeah.
I'll get with you.
Put your information in the comment chain. She'll reach out to you. We'll
I
be
will.
there. All right.
I
So we
love
went
that
way
plug.
over,
Yeah,
way over an hour show. But hey, that's the great thing about being live. Thanks Facebook for letting us do it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week, Friday at 5 o'clock. Be sure to share it with your friends. See you then.
Thanks for having us.
Hi. Is it over?
It's
I can pee so bad. I'm so
literally,
sorry.
it literally died.
Kate,
The
you
moment
she
you
couldn't
said thanks
wait.
for watching.
I couldn't even wait. I had to go halfway through
Kate, if
it.
you're gonna plug your website, you have to say Simply Kate grammatically correct. Just
Well, that was exactly how it sounded. Simply
That's all you have to say.
Kate.com.
I had no idea y'all were still live. I'm like, we're just gonna come and steal this. Holy crap, they're still live. What?
Still going.
Hour and a half show. We're going.
It didn't stop
6:30
it.
really?
Yeah.
You
Is
gotta get
it
the popcorn.
6:30 really?
I hope,
Yes.
I hope when
Yeah.
you guys watch this back, I didn't talk too much.
No.
I'm like Steve, when we take our turns, it's
Five
like.
below?
It was
there's-
all great.
No,
It's
I
a
think it was
long,
$5 on it.
I
it's a
think it
thought
was perfect.
process, you know?
maybe sometime what we need to do is we don't script
This
this
thing
stuff.
died.
Yeah.
literally.
No.
Maybe what we need to do
No.
is make
No
sure that
scripting.
Maybe it's still
that
going.
the
and I
new
don't
on-air
know.
talent
Are you for
gets a chance to understand how we work
This has
and how
lag.
we interplay, because I'm gonna challenge you. I hit you up a couple times.
It's
I thought it was
still
I
live.
like the points that
How do I
the
go
points
You're
I'm
It was
making.
a
still
good
live.
show.
And we needed to
That was a
make
great
sure that we
show.
got your
Hey,
input.
Joe?
No, you're still
I'm
live.
on my
We're
way.
still live.
yourself
now.
We're still live.
You have to
Awesome.
end it. Oh my
Okay,
God!
yeah.
We're still live. That's awesome.
Power button?
I think I can do it
Yeah.
on here.
It
Yeah.
does on there, right?
That's awesome.
Hey, I'm
Yeah, you
only
do
under
power, but
contract
You
for an
got to
hour
see
and a
behind
half.
the scenes.